It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. I'm going to allow YouTube a few moments to send the notifications out. We have breaking news. The escalation of World War III continues. And you're going to get the truth that the mainstream media is not going to give you. Sister 1973, I see you in the building. Latrice is in the building. Y'all make sure y'all double tap the screen as you enter. So, your eyes do not deceive you. The title of the video is The Actual Factual. I see y'all rolling in. It's going down, brothers and sisters. It's going down. Now, in case you're wondering what's happening, I'm going to explain this from a geopolitical standpoint as well as a biblical standpoint, right? We're going to leave no stone unturned, and I'm going to make sure that you brothers and sisters fully comprehend what's going on in the world right now. So just to catch some of you up to speed, in case you haven't been watching the news at all, Donald Trump, as of last night, sent 3 B-2 bombers, which, you know, he actually hit 3 minor targets that supposedly or allegedly was carrying uranium and as well as nuclear reactors, right? Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. According to MSNBC, there was no nuclear leakage. So let's first put that out there. Let's put that out there right now. I'm going to say allegedly that he hit the right spots, but again, it was stated there was no nuclear leakage. Now, I don't know what's true or not regarding that, but it's a probability that he missed. It is a probability that he missed. All right. Now, on top of that, instead of Iran cowering, instead of peace taking place as Trump boldly proclaimed what happened, that now there will be peace, but instead Iran responds with a full-blown military missile attack on Israel, forcing millions of people to go into underground bunkers. I believe only 16 people were killed, but they sent 20 more ballistic missiles throughout the night, and they've been continuing on this onslaught. And as we can see, it continues to escalate. Now, what I want to do in this video is show you how everything is going to fall into place biblically now, because now there's going to be other countries involved, and it's just going to get crazy. But first of all, we got to go to the news of this full-scale attack that I'm speaking of, so y'all can see what's going on here, right? Let's go.
Hours after the U.S. strike, the Iranian regime resumed targeting the citizens in Israel. They're fighting a very different war. They're not going after military targets or anything like that. They are shooting at people. They are sending those missiles into major civilian areas, some 27 overnight around Tel Aviv and Haifa. Israel's health ministry says at least 80 people were badly injured in some cases in those overnight strikes. Chief foreign correspondent.
So that we're clear, they are sending missiles into residential areas. So now the gloves are off. And of course, Iran has already posted a statement that all bases that are American bases that are stationed in the Middle East have also become targets. All right. So Iran doesn't seem to be backing down. They have decided to fight just as dirty as they feel that America is fighting, and as well as Israel is fighting. So, and we're going to talk about this because there's going to be a mass exodus in Israel. And I actually said this yesterday. And we're going to talk about the details regarding that. Let's go.
Trey is in Tel Aviv. Trey.
Harris, good morning. Hours after President Trump ordered those U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, the Iranians launched a large-scale ballistic missile attack against Israel, sending millions of people into bomb shelters. Nearly 30 missiles.
They sent millions of people into bomb shelters last night. The land of Israel will soon be inhabitable. And this shows that Iran is not backing down and they're prepared to go to war. And Iran is a large country. A large country. That's right. Somebody in the chat said it. 90 million. 90 million is the theology-based government. They will die for their religion and their rights. Yes, they believe in martyrdom. So, you know, and I said this multiple times. Listen, guerrilla warfare is very unpredictable. And what seems to be happening is if they start to target all American bases that are stationed in the Middle East, they're going to have to send troops to the ground. And that's the war that that's the war that America's not going to win, right? That's a war that America is not going to win. And I want you to know, when Iran posted that they will be targeting all bases in the Middle East that are American bases, they wasn't just speaking for Iran. They were speaking for all their allies. All right, let's continue.
Soaring through the skies of this country. According to first responders, there were 10 different impact sites and more than 80 people wounded. A number of residential buildings were destroyed. First responders going to the scene, digging through the rubble, trying to find people who survived these blasts. We do understand that the Israelis remain today on high alert, fearing more Iranian responses. And there is a state of emergency here, warning civilians to stay out of public gatherings. Schools are closed and businesses shuttered. This is what is.
So as you can see, Iran is doing irreparable damage to Israel. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. You know, the Israeli citizens are petrified. A lot of them are going to end up fleeing into other European countries. You're going to have a lot of them fleeing to America soon. So I believe I can almost predict that Trump is going to open the borders for Israeli migration, as well as, you know, a lot of other European countries, you know, because at the end of the day, the citizens are not safe. They're not safe. So y'all got to understand what's happening biblically. What's happening biblically is that the Medes are being stirred up in wrath to go against Babylon. Y'all got to understand, nothing new under the sun. Ancient Babylon rose up against the Persians, and now modern day Babylon is rising up against the modern day Persians. And it never goes well. They couldn't beat Genghis Khan. They just can't beat these people. They didn't even beat Iraq. They had to withdraw. So let's be very clear about it. Let's go.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to say in response to the American strikes.
History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity.
Now, I want you to understand that Netanyahu praised Trump's efforts, or praised his shrewd decision to go ahead and bomb. But this happened right before they got hit with those 20 ballistics. So, you know, hey, they got all this pride, they got all this arrogance, they scream in peace, they believe after they attack someone, it's supposed to just end. And hours after Netanyahu stood up and did this, his country got bombed. Millions of people were forced into bomb shelters. So I want y'all to understand that this is really beginning to be very apocalyptic. This is very serious times. Now, of course, we shall have no fear, because there's nothing we can do with nuclear fallout anyway if that was to take place. I look at it like this. If something was to happen and this country was to get blown off the face of the map, at least we all can be together. At least it all ends at once. We'll be gone in seconds. You ain't got to say bye to nobody. You be in peace with your folks. You ain't got to lose nobody. So at the end of the day, it ain't nothing to fear, but fear itself, and fear the Most High, that you have everlasting eternal life, right? So I'm just giving you the information of what's going on to let you know that we are in the last days. We are in the final hour, and judgment is coming to the Babylonian structure. Anyway, let's go.
And peace.
Trump is now in his first month in office, and we want to know how you think he's doing as president. You guys know how I think he's doing, but
The Iranians have responded saying all options are on the table about a possible response to the U.S. strikes overnight. And the country's foreign minister releasing a statement saying, quote, last week we were in negotiations with the U.S. when Israel decided to blow up that diplomacy. This week we held talks with the E3 EU when the U.S. decided to blow up that diplomacy.
Listen, I'm going to make this very clear. The Roman Empire does not want diplomacy. They scream peace, but they wage war. This is what they do. This is what they always done. They never keep their word. They always undermine an agreement. This is what they do. This is how they pillaged and destroyed and stole large land masses and committed genocide on people. They break treaties. They break agreements. They do not have honor whatsoever. And that goes for all of the Roman Empire. It's just that's how they operate. Let's go.
What conclusion would you draw? Again, American forces and the Israelis remain on high alert across the region. There's real concern about a possible response that could come at any moment. And we do understand that both current and...
Well, they've already responded. They just hammered Israel after U.S. hit nuclear sites. They hit Israel with 20 ballistics, sending millions of people into bomb shelters. And next thing we're going to end up seeing is them actually hitting all of the Middle Eastern bases that are American bases. Let's continue.
Former Israeli officials continue to praise President Trump for this decision, understanding that it has changed the reality for the Middle East, going after these key nuclear sites in Iran and taking away that important piece of leverage that the regime had just 20.
Somebody said 20 ballistics is less than their first strike. Well, the issue is that they're hitting what makes this strike a full scale, a full blown strike. Let me explain this. They hit residential areas. They hit civilians. That's what makes it a difference. That means Iran officially took the gloves off. Let's go.
24 hours ago related to their nuclear program. Harris?
Trey, I'm curious. You said through your reporting that all options are on the table for Iran. What does that even mean at this point? And are they hitting Israel in a way that they anticipated? Is it bigger? I know they're hitting civilians, and that is horrible, and they can continue to do that. But I had been reading maybe they wouldn't have as much in terms of weaponry at this point.
Trump just put us in a horrible position, y'all. He really did. America right now is dealing with civil unrest. We're still dealing with we're still dealing with the inflation from the trade wars. We're still dealing with the immigration, mass deportation riots. America is in a bad place, and we do not need to be in a war. We don't need to be in no war. He put us in a horrible place. And I know the Democrats, they are speaking a lot right now. I believe Obama came out and has something to say. Listen, let me put this out here. There's two wings of the same bird. These people have tea and lunch and all of that together, man. Like, we got to wake up, people. We have to wake up. It was the Democrats who left the borders wide open with no type of rules and regulations. And this is why we are in a vulnerable position right now. Because guess what? Sleeper cells are real. And if you thinking that there isn't any Middle Easterns over here, Iranians, that are ready to walk up in a building and go ahead and get themselves out the way just to make a statement and do it for their team, do it for their squad. If you think then that's not a possibility, you're sadly mistaken. You got to be alert these days, on point these days. And so, you know, they're two sides of one bird. I don't care for the politics at all. At the end of the day, anybody who's in that White House is an issue when they're not doing what they're supposed to do for the children of Israel, the real children of Israel, God's people. Let's go.
Yeah, Harris, you're exactly right. And I spoke on the phone earlier with Israel's former defense minister, Yoav Galant, and he said it would be a grave mistake for the Iranians to respond to these strikes overnight that were ordered by President Trump. They do have some limited capability to continue targeting Israeli population centers with ballistic missiles. They could also use their proxies in the region, these Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias, to go after U.S. bases or embassies in the Middle East. But the key thing to remember here is that over the past year and a half, the Israelis have systematically taken out Iranian proxies like Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. The Americans and the Israelis have gone after the Houthis in Yemen. They've targeted Hamas and Islamic Jihad inside Gaza, and it has given the Iranians very limited options in terms of a response. The situation has changed. If we were having this conversation 2 years ago, Israel would fear a massive missile attack from multiple directions. Right now, they just have to brace for the possibility of more ballistic missile fire from Iran and the chance that Iran could try to mobilize what's left of their proxy forces in the region to launch limited strikes against population centers here or American interests across the region.
So now America is open. America can also be attacked, and they're admitting it, you know. And, you know, listen, these people are so arrogant. And I'm talking about these Europeans. They're just arrogant. They really don't understand that, you know, they're putting everybody in a bad situation, and the world doesn't need this right now. And they're not ready for the outcome. They're just not ready for the outcome. This is unlike any war that we ever had. The Most High is about to gather the Gentiles in the valley of Jehoshaphat to actually judge. He's riling the Medes up. He's riling the Persians up. Why? Because these people can't be bought with silver and gold. And America is arrogant. America is just reckless. And we really believe that there's going to be peace after we struck Iran, and it's not. And pride goeth before the fall.
Yeah, I wanted to know about their reach in terms of all of those 40,000+ American personnel and some even their families in the region as well. So we'll get into that with Joey Jones. You set it up perfectly. I'm so appreciative of your reporting always, Trey. Thank you. In focus now, Joey Jones, retired Marine bomb technician and Fox News contributor. So let's talk about the exposure, if you will, of our men and women in the military in that region right now. And are we...
See, she's about to ask a key question. Look, somebody's trying to sink somebody's battleship. Hold on, let's go.
Do you think at this point?
I think you have to be a little bit more worried today. You don't know what Iran's going to do.
And she's asked, for the record, before the ad interrupted, she's asking, is those bases in the Middle East in any kind of danger? All right. You know, because Iran did say that they are now a target. Any military base in Iran, or not in Iran, in the Middle East in general, is a target. Let's go.
You have Soleimani as an example. We had a guest on Fox and Friends this morning, and he kind of tried to thread the needle and said he felt.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's double tap your screen to get the likes up.
They would do more than what they did after Soleimani, but try not to do too much to create a reaction from us. My guessing at it is, do they try to go after capabilities rather than personnel? Do they want American blood, or do they want a PR win after they've been embarrassed on the international stage? I don't know. Yeah.
The only ones that's going to be embarrassed is the Western world. How are they embarrassed when millions live? You know, it's interesting. Millions of Israelis are hiding in bomb shelters right now. Who's really embarrassed? Babylon is falling, and that includes all of Babylon's allies as well. But ultimately, America will be the scapegoat. It's like these people are arrogant. They tout themselves around as being the moral authority. Meanwhile, y'all are the ones who waging wars. How are you going to ask somebody to disarm while you're telling them that they're your enemy? Let's go.
Yeah, I don't even know what capabilities they have left.
That's my question.
And so that's a big point.
That's crazy, because y'all don't know what capabilities they have left. And the element of surprise is everything. Anytime you go into war and your adversary makes it clear that they don't know what capabilities you have, they don't know what they can do. That's the issue. You don't know. You don't know. These Europeans, the Roman Empire, believe that they're smarter than the whole world. They believe that they are the most intelligent, and they believe that they know everything, and you don't. Let's go.
Part of it as well. So it's not a wait and see, it's a wait and hope, I think.
Okay, so this is important. From that Secretary Rubio interview with Maria Bartiromo, he told her there are no planned military operations right now against Iran. That sounds like a really open window if they will step in and take it for negotiations.
Yeah, there's soundbite after soundbite from Secretary Hegseth's press conference this morning. I mean, he said very matter-of-factly, the president wants them to come to the negotiation table, and he says they know the steps they need to take for peace. Now, he didn't tell us what those steps are, but that was in response to a question about, is the Trump administration directly communicating with Iran's leadership? And he said yes.
All right, next one, because I've been pulling just headlines in the last 11 minutes now. As the sun is setting in that part of the world, as you saw, it's after 6 p.m. there. So the IAEA chief, Grossi, was telling another network they cannot assess the damage underground at Iran's Fordo.
Now, that's interesting. They cannot assess the damage underground at Iran's Fordo. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no nuclear leakage. They can't assess what took place. They don't even know what the hell they bombed, bruh. Listen, I'm about to say something that's going to piss a lot of you MAGA supporters off. Donald Trump missed, allegedly. He allegedly missed. And the only response was Iran just lit up Israel. And Trump placed a target on military soldiers in the Middle East. He shot an air ball, man. Y'all, he shot an air ball. He didn't hit, it was a brick. Allegedly. Let's go.
Okay, they cannot, do you think? Or they're not being allowed to, or what is the situation? Because they didn't have eyes on it before all this.
It could be both. It could be that the damage is such that there isn't a direct path in there to see.
And we hope that.
And
yeah, y'all doing a lot of hoping. Man, the Europeans are being judged. They don't have any control at this moment. The Most High God is in complete control of the world right now. You know, they don't know nothing. All they can do is hope. You got MAGA talking about the rapture is coming. They know they done screwed up. Now, all of a sudden, the rapture campaign and came back. You know why? Because they know judgment is coming. You're not going to disappear in a thin air. No. You're going to do it. You're going to have to deal with the consequences of what the Vikings are out here doing. You have to deal with it. And, we sitting back looking at this. We got our popcorn. And we are enjoying the show. Now, I know there's a lot of people who still believe that there's a rapture that's coming and people that are going to disappear into thin air. I hate to tell you that's a false doctrine that came through Jesuits. It came through what you would call dispensationalism, where they try to chronologically tell you when things would happen as far as prophecy goes. And it's not a matter of opinion, the sister in the chat. This is facts. All you got to do is the research. Look up the Jesuits. Look up dispensationalism. It was made by people who injected and took away from the scriptures. If you watch the Left Behind movie, if you read the back of it, it says science fiction. It says science fiction. So let's be very clear. Nobody's going to disappear. What's going to happen is the world is going to go into chaos until Christ returns. Because guess what? When Christ returns, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. It ain't going to be nobody just disappearing. Every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Anyway, let's get to it.
Probably nobody's getting an invitation into Iran right now to inspect nuclear facilities, no matter where they're from. I would imagine, and what we keep hearing is Israel has boots on the ground there in some form or fashion, and probably plans to do a battle damage assessment of some sort.
Okay, I figured. I mean, the IAEA had an opportunity to do more than be duplicitous at one point. They really,
put out,
you and I have talked
they
about
put out one report in May that really changed a lot of things. That said for the first time that Iran had violated any agreement they had. But I think that's 20 years too late.
Yeah, that's the problem. All right, one last one here. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, we're familiar with it because there are millions of Muslims that they say they speak for.
You know, it's interesting because right now we're looking at a holy war. It's definitely a holy war. And what I want you to understand here is that America is very vulnerable. Why? Because we don't have God anymore. This is a godless generation. And Muslims actually believe in martyrdom. They actually believe in dying for what they believe in. They believe in their God. In America, the Christian church is completely destroyed. And there's no real spiritual protection in this place. The only people who are spiritually protected is those who really follow Christ as the scriptures have written. Those who honor the Almighty. Those are the only people who have the spiritual protection. America is wide open.
Here's what they say. They have now set up a contact group for regular contact with regional international parties to support de-escalation efforts to stop the aggression against Iran and seek peaceful settlement. You've been hearing a lot.
Did you know that in Texas, rifles can be carried in public without a license, whereas in Florida, no open...
Let's go.
Liking how this is going because they're for the Islamic regime.
Yeah, I think if you look at the Arab nations, some of the biggest ones, Saudi Arabia.
Y'all got to understand, Christianity is not even the dominant religion anymore. It's not. A lot of countries are turning Islamic. A lot of countries are turning Islamic. All right. And the reason why Christianity isn't the main religion anymore in the world is because it's been completely tarnished and destroyed by the theologian seminary colleges, by these fake false pastors and false prophets and teachers and these gainsayers and these devils and demons out here. And the fact that they are not honoring God's true chosen people, which are the 12 tribes of Israel. And you can look up the 12 tribes. But if you ask them other people what tribe they from, you know, those people who are hiding in bomb shelters right now, ask them what tribe they from. Let's go.
UAE and the first statement they put out, and I think the other one was Qatar, they all stopped shy of condemning or almost taking a side. They all said, we need to find a peaceful resolution, essentially. But then you've got the Secretary General of the United Nations coming out and pointing the ire directly at the United States, as if the United States was the only bad actor or the bad actor in the situation. So it's almost like President Trump's tour of the Middle East has flipped the table a little bit.
Well,
this guy right here is a damn psychopath, bro. A prideful lunatic. A billionaire baby turned dictator. Been on lifestyles of the rich and famous. This guy right here been on had reality TV shows. Listen, I'm just going to put it out here. This guy's a damn psychopath, bro. Ignorant as hell. I mean, ignorant as hell. I'm just keeping it a buck. And look, let me say this for all of you Democrats out here. I ain't on y'all side either. I want y'all to imagine Kamala Harris being in this situation, cackling and giggling on TV. No, I don't care for any of them. None of them had a comprehensive plan for Black America. We at the point now, we don't care no more. We figured out that we on our own. We on our own. And we're going to be big stepping our way on up out of here. Yeah, this man wrestled Vince McMahon. Stop. Stop it. He wrestled Vince McMahon. It's a TV show. All of this is a show. Everybody double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. You're getting some of the most interesting commentary on social media over here, right? Let's go.
well, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's keeping his promises. I don't think the world is used to that. The New York Times with this headline, with military strike, his predecessors avoided. Trump takes a huge gamble. President Trump is
He damn sure did take a huge gamble.
betting the United States can repel whatever retaliation Iran orders, and that it has destroyed the regime's chances of reconstituting its nuclear program. Your take on that?
Yeah, phrasing it that way, like it's very open-ended, we absolutely can. In a conventional war, we are the world's superpower. And with what Iran has left, if we so wanted, we could absolutely destroy their military. That doesn't mean we do it without any losses of our own. Doesn't mean that the troops and the ships that we have in the region aren't susceptible to a missile getting lucky and striking one of them, honestly. But
So for you all just joining, let's make this very clear. What just took place? This is not clickbait. This is real talk. Iran, in response to their 3 nuclear sites allegedly being hit, they fired at Israel and they hit civilians. They took the gloves off. They put millions of people in bomb shelters. Peep what just took place. Let me rewind that part. And then I got another source to show you the outcome of all this, because a lot of you are probably wondering what's happening next, Breed. Let's go.
After the U.S. strike, the Iranian regime resumed targeting the citizens in Israel. They're fighting a very different war. They're not going after military targets or anything like that.
They're not going after military targets in any of that. They finna blow up whatever they see, right?
They are shooting at people. They are sending those missiles into major civilian areas, some 27
Major civilian areas.
overnight around Tel Aviv and
27 around Tel Aviv, Israel. They did this last night. Every day it seems to be more escalation of World War III.
Haifa. Israel's health ministry says at least 80 people were badly injured in some cases in those overnight strikes. Chief foreign correspondent Trey is in Tel Aviv. Trey.
Harris, good morning. Hours after President Trump ordered those U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, the Iranians launched a large-scale ballistic missile attack against Israel.
Y'all hear that? They did a full-scale military ballistic attack against Israel last night. That's what Iran did in response. Let's go.
Sending millions of people into bomb shelters, nearly 30 missiles soaring through the skies of this country. According to first responders, there were 10 different impact sites and more than 80 people wounded. A number of residential buildings were destroyed. First responders going to the scene, digging through the rubble, trying to find people who survived these blasts. We do understand that the Israelis remain today on.
So the millions of people been in putting in bomb shelters. They still trying to dig out, finding bodies in Israel. You know, hey, listen, I just got a question. It's just a question, right? If Israel is the Holy Land, well, you know, this part of Israel, if this is the Holy Land and those are the holy people, why is it that the Bible says that when God's people find a holy land, it will be peace on earth? And that we will reign with Christ for 1,000 years. This don't look like peace. This don't look like peace.
80 people wounded. A number of residential buildings were destroyed. First responders going to the scene, digging through the rubble, trying to find people who survived these blasts. We do understand that the Israelis remain today on high alert, fearing more Iranian responses.
Israel is petrified. So there's no peace. Donald Trump was wrong. Donald Trump said, now there shall be peace. No, you were wrong.
And there is a state of emergency here, warning civilians to stay out of public gatherings. Schools are closed and businesses shuttered. This is what Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to say in response to the American strikes.
History will record.
So, listen, let me give y'all some history here. And well, actually, this is not even history. This is what's going to happen, but history is repeating itself. I have an interesting source for y'all. And I want y'all to see this because he did a breakdown. This guy did this breakdown on what pretty much a simulation on what he believes will happen, you know, because of this escalation. And I'm going to chime in because, look, all we can do is speculate. And a lot of things that I've said thus far, they have happened from the beginning of the coverage of this war. Everything I said took place. At the beginning, I told y'all that America was going to inherit this war. At the beginning, I told you, and matter of fact, we could take it all the way back to when Trump got elected. I told y'all he was going to take us to war. I told y'all. Why? Because I've been studying the word. I've been studying what's going on. And the trumpet has been officially blown, right? Now, here's an interesting source I came across. He says that the West plans to go how World War III would play out. And he's uttering a lot of the things that I've said, and he's adding a few details here. And I want to chime in on this because this is very true. Let's go.
West plans to go to war against Russia, China, and Iran. An Anglo-American alliance that tells NATO countries what to do cannot win this planned war without the support of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, India, and Pakistan. Now you
see, these are the countries that are going to get involved here.
Know why Western countries have to support mass immigration from such countries.
Exactly. So you're going to see, and I said this way early on, I was saying it yesterday, they're going to have to support mass immigration. Why? Because I'm going to just tell you like this. Those people who are over there anyway are vagabonds. They're vagabonds. I'm just going to tell you like this. The Europeans, they're vagabonds. They don't have no homeland. They take they came out of the Caucasus. They came out of the Khazarian Empire. They came out of the hills. And they just took everything from everybody. So you're going to see a lot of these people. And it started off with Trump bringing these Afrikaners over, these white farmers, these white Afrikaners. They don't have a homeland. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And, you know, they don't have a homeland. So they're going to go wherever they look. Yeah. Somebody said the Crusades are back, baby. Yeah. But anyway, let's continue.
European and Turkish men will be expected to fight Russia. Saudi and Pakistani men will be expected to fight Iran. Indian men will be expected to fight China. And British and American men will have to fight anyone anywhere in the world, though mostly at sea and in the air.
And you know who has always got to pay the price? They're going to well, I'm going to say it this way. You know who they're going to try to get involved. Let me see if y'all guess who they're going to really try to get involved in all of this. I'm looking at the chat now. And double tap your screen to get the likes up. Somebody said Mexico, Kenya. No, I'm talking about a specific demographic of people. My man Sage said it. Black folk. That's exactly who they gonna try to get involved. Black and brown people. Hey, listen, man. Hey, look, stay out of their war. Stay out of their war. All my foundational Black Americans, all my Mexican people, Panamanians, Jamaicans, Haitians, Latinos. Listen, all of you Blacks that's, consider yourself Israelites that are in Africa. Look, stay out of it. It'll be a good time to get an honorable discharge. It'd be a great time to do it. Be a great time to just stay on up out of it. Straight up.
And they're trying to get as many Black Africans on board as well.
Exactly. Listen, they trying to get as many of us on board as well. Why? Let me tell you why. Let him tell you why.
As cannon fodder.
They want to use us as cannon fodder. They want to put us on the front lines. They want us to fight every war for them. This been going on from the dawn of time. Every war that they came up with, Vietnam War, World War I, World War II. They always trying to put us on the front line. Ladies and gentlemen, stay out of it. Stay out of it. We don't look. This ain't our war. Look, we've already been through war. We've been through a war. Just existing in America. Just existing in America has been a war with all of the experimentation, captivity, destruction that they've done on our people. We don't want nothing to do with it. Look, we finna electric slide right on up out of here. Real talk.
While Russia and China are equally interested in recruiting Africans for their side.
And that's true. China wants to have Black Americans. You're gonna see a campaign with China trying to recruit us. And they've already started that during the trade war. Look, y'all can come over here, shop. Y'all can get whatever y'all want. Thailand and different places, they're going to welcome us over there. Hey, look, y'all come on over here. Yeah. I seen a video where the China lady was like, look, America's only great because of you Blacks. Come to China. Come on over here. Nope. Everything the children of the light touch, we turn it to gold. Anywhere we at, listen, they're protected to a degree. The only reason this place is still standing is because the children of God are here. But here's the issue. This war is escalating because there's a mass awakening taking place. There's a mass awakening taking place. I'm telling you. Every nation want the Hebrews. Every nation want the children of God because we make every nation great. Let's go.
Just like the European soccer competition, we may see Blacks under different European flags fight each other to death for money. And we are doing all this grandiose confusion, mainly to defend Israel, but only by sacrificing Europe, Canada, the USA, and Australia in the process.
So y'all see all of these countries are going to have to get involved. Why? Mainly because Iran controlled 30% of the world's oil. So, China and all of them going to want to get involved. Like, hold on now. We can't get rid of Iran. And if we are going to get rid of Iran, who is going to inherit the resources? Because right now, the world is fighting to see who would be the next superpower. All right.
The citizens of these places will be financially plundered in order to fund the war effort.
And that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of resources being used because war is highly expensive. And the American citizens, as well as the other countries listed, they're going to have to pay the price while the rich get richer.
While their men are being sent off to die at the front lines. Our homelands will be transformed forever and will not resemble their former selves after the war.
No, it's going to look very different out here in these streets after this war. Very different. It's going to be like something straight up out of a movie. Donzi says, Nubreed been preaching this for years. Got to give him recognition for that. All glory to the Most High God for this gentleman's wisdom and discernment. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And that's why in the chat, I've been ignoring a lot of people who are new because they don't know, how long I've been around actually speaking this truth and actually bringing out what's happening, how many times I've been successful with predicting certain events that took place. But it's okay. That's why I ignore them. I just sit there and let them talk. And, it is what it is. Sooner or later, they're going to learn. Right. But thank you for that. I appreciate you. Let's go.
In the meantime, I know that many Israelis and Zionists are thinking of relocating to places like Paraguay or...
Yes, a lot of Israelis are going to relocate to Paraguay. I can see that happening. They're going to be relocating to other European countries. There will be a mass migration in the world in general. It's going to be a mass migration in the world in general. Everybody, look, the Bible actually talks about that. If y'all want to share the scripture where it says that people would start to basically migrate back to their homeland, put that on there. Now, where is the Europeans, the Khazarians, with the white folk? Where they going to migrate? Because they don't have a homeland. They're going to go to these European countries that were also stolen by conquest. Meanwhile, the children of the light, we're going to start developing. See, here's the thing. The whole world is ours. America is ours. We're the Native Americans. So, only thing we got to do is stay in the truth, stay in the faith, and watch how the Most High maneuver us around and shift us around so we can, stand tall. Let's go.
Argentina, in case the state of Israel does not survive this war. The leader of Paraguay recently declared that he is proud to be a Jew, and the leader of Argentina, Milei, has converted to Judaism, although I suspect he was born that way. The female president of Mexico is also Jewish, and so is the leader of Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. So y'all hear that? These people all have the same belief system. So who is going to network with each other. Who is going to, become allies and all of that while all of this is taking place.
None of this makes any sense until you realize that most Ashkenazi Jews who form the Zionist leadership cadre are originally from Ukraine, such as Netanyahu, and they see Latin America as a safe place to flee to.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to flee. Right now, they up in bomb shelters. Millions of them. They're not going to school right now. Right now, the streets are afraid. They terrified. The next step is they're going to start migrating. They're going to start making moves to different places because I'm going to just tell y'all like this. Y'all not going to like what I'm about to say. Iran is not letting up. They're not going to stop. This is going to be one of those long drawn out type of wars. Let's go.
So if the state of Israel does not survive Third World War, Latin America should expect to receive many millions of Jewish refugees who will eventually demand a new Zionist homeland there.
Yep, they're gonna need a new homeland. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna need a new homeland because this right here, we're gonna go back.
Regime nuclear facilities.
This ain't looking
the
good.
The skies of this country is blast. We do understand that.
Listen, look. Hey, this is prophetic, man. The Bible already said what was going to happen. Isaiah 13:14, and it shall be as the chase roe, and as the sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone in his own land. That is Isaiah 13 and 14. It's inevitable. Everybody got to flee to their own land. Everybody got to migrate to their own land. Everybody got to get right with their tribe, link up with their tribe. That's what's happening right now with this war. People are being shifted. Let's go.
Yeah. My guess is they will take Paraguay. I also suspect that by that time, Europe will lay in ruins, and hundreds of millions of Europeans may need to migrate elsewhere.
Now, I disagree with that. I believe America will be in ruins before Europe. You know, there's certain things he say I don't 100% agree with, but all we doing is speculating what the possibilities are at this point.
Elsewhere, because food, water, and energy will not be available after the war collapses the global supply chains.
Yep, the global supply chains will be definitely hit. And Iran actually already has a history of doing cyber attacks and also affecting our water pipelines. They've done it before. So don't get it twisted. This stuff is real.
Europe cannot win this war. Whether the Anglo-American bosses win or lose, Europe will be sacrificed either way.
America will be sacrificed. So he's wrong. It ain't going to be Europe. It's going to be America. The EU is going to turn on America. It's going to get to a point where everyone is going to turn on America.
Our people should expect to greatly suffer. We should prepare for it. You may have heard.
Now, he said a lot of things that were true, some things that was false, right? But this stuff is very real. This stuff is very real. And we almost got 1,000 likes in the building. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Now, I wanted to give y'all an update here because this is what Iran officially stated. And I believe that they're going to live up to what they're talking about. Let's go. Hold on. And double tap your screen. Let's get the likes. We are very close to 1,000. Let me see. I think this is it. Oh man, people are sending me stuff right now. All right, Iran's response. I mean, people sending me stuff right now. Iran, chest in. Iran FN blasts U.S. after nuclear strikes, warns of chaos. I'm telling you. And we are there. Thank y'all for making sure that we have 1,000 likes. I appreciate y'all.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. Actually, we invited you yesterday for a briefing on the latest developments on the ground and, of course, on diplomatic process. Because I came here from Geneva, where we had our first ministerial meeting of Iran E3, and then I had here yesterday lots of useful, important meetings with the foreign ministers of our region, and we discussed about different initiatives and ideas existed for a peaceful settlement of this question. But as all of you know, we suddenly faced.
So to let it be known, Iran seemed to really seek a peaceful resolution. And, you know, they've done it before in history, saying that we want peace. But this time, I think they were sincere, right? I think they were sincere. But of course, the U.S. wasn't having that. And like I said earlier, they always break their treaties. They always break their agreements. They always undermine any covenant that they have because they believe that the ends justify the means, and they're gonna attack at will. Right? Let's go.
With the aggression by American forces to our nuclear facilities. The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns in the strongest terms the United States' brutal military aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities.
Yeah, those Iranians over there burning American flags, and you know they're not happy about those facilities being bombed. But let's go.
It is an outrageous, grave, and unprecedented violation of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations.
Yep, and the rumor is that, and I must call it a rumor as now, that Trump's move was illegal because you have to have the Congress vote to actually do that. But in actuality, Trump found a loophole, and this is why he was acting vicariously through Israel. And in a state of emergency, Trump has a certain time span where he can react legally, and that's what he did. You know, he pulled the old bait and switch by using his ally, or they used each other. Israel and America used each other. But I want to make it clear, U.S. always wanted to get at Iran. They always wanted them. So, you know, Trump found a loophole. So he actually did not break the law with what he did, because as the president, he still has control of the military power. But to actually go into a war, he doesn't. He has to go through Congress. But they're not calling this a war. They're not calling this a war, but it is a war. That's the crazy part about it. And so let's get to it, though.
And international law. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington.
He called them a warmongering, lawless administration in Washington. Wow.
Is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression.
Yo, so Iran is telling you there will be consequences. There will be repercussions for those actions. And he's speaking towards America at the moment. Right. Let's go.
The U.S. military attack on the territorial integrity and national sovereignty of a UN member state carried out with genocidal Israeli regime, carried out in collusion with the genocidal Israeli regime, has once again revealed the extent of the United States' hostility towards the peace-seeking people of Iran, who will never compromise over their independence and sovereignty. The Islamic Republic of Iran continue.
And he's right. He said, we never compromise their independency or sovereignty. But you have someone trying to compromise their independence and sovereignty, which is a moral violation.
To defend Iran's territory, sovereignty, security, and people by all means necessary against not just U.S. military aggression, but also the reckless and unlawful actions of the Israeli regime. While President Trump was elected on a platform of putting an end to America's costly involvement of forever wars.
Forever wars. And we cannot safely say that America is a quote-unquote civilization. How can we say that when we are constantly in war? Matter of fact, there is no such thing as a European civilization at all, because they are all constantly in war.
In our part of the world, he has betrayed not only Iran by abusing our commitment to diplomacy, but also deceived his own voters by submitting to the wishes of a wanted war criminal who has grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens.
Wow, wow, wow. He said He's grown accustomed to exploiting the lives and wealth of American citizens. We can't say that's a lie. That trade war, that tariff war, that didn't help us. That helped the rich. Stock market going up and down. Meanwhile, our taxes going up. I mean, listen, we cannot say that Iran is lying. We just can't, we can't boldly say he's lying, man.
To further the Israeli regime's objectives. The U.S. act of aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes not only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter, especially the prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2231. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the US, a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime.
To the global non-proliferation. That means what he's saying essentially is you have no idea what Trump's decision did to global peace. Any type of global production, any type of global process. He's saying you have no idea what that strike just did globally, not just with Iran, but what it did globally.
Regime. The Islamic Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations, the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international law.
Yep.
Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos.
Do y'all hear that? That the world is about to be plunged to an unprecedented level of war and chaos. And biblically speaking, it is true. It's so true. And I'm gonna read a couple scriptures here. We're gonna go back to this because there's a few more minutes on that, but it's like I find a need to describe what is happening scripturally. Hold on, let me grab this here. There's a couple verses that I have notated right here, and it's kind of like jumping off the page right now. Obadiah 1:15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathens. Hold on, let me get it here. For the day of the Lord is upon all the day of the heathens. So what I want you to understand is this ain't about choosing sides. Judgment is coming to anybody who rebel against the Most High. All right? Now, Psalms 83:4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. They tried to cut God's people off for being a nation, so they have to be cut off from being a nation. Now, this is the one that I really needed to go to. It's two of them. Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. Iran is the ancient Medes. So they're going to retaliate. Why? Look, the Most High says, make bright the arrows. What you see flying in the sky is bright arrows. All these hypersonic ballistic missiles. I really want to share the scripture for y'all. Share it in the chat. Jeremiah 51:11. Excuse me. Make bright the arrows. Gather the shields. The Lord have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. They're not backing down. It says the Lord raised up the kingdom. the kings, the spirit in them. The Lord did it. They don't have any fear. Why? Because the Lord is telling them what to do. They're telling them to keep going. The Most High can put a spirit on these people. Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this war was spoken about before these nations even existed in today's form. Just don't forget that, right? I just wanted to share those scriptures right here so we can understand how prophetic this is. We got to understand how prophetic this is, right? Anyway, let's go back to that source where the Iranian leadership is speaking, because y'all got to know that this is all biblical.
Humanity has come too far as a species to allow a lawless bully to take us back to the law of the jungle.
Damn, he said we're going back to the law of the jungle.
The Islamic Republic of Iran calls on the Security Council to convene an emergency session to unequivocally.
Somebody said you're cheering for the enemy. Listen, let me just address this individual real quick. You're cheering for the enemy. I'm not cheering for nobody. War is unfortunate. I don't want no war going on. I'm just informing you prophetically what is to happen. Anyway, let's go.
Condemn the criminal act of aggression by the United States against Iran and to hold
Exactly. I'm cheering for God's will. And let's make this clear. I ain't no Democrat. I don't care for any of the politics. And ain't no fear over here either. We're not rocking with none of these politicians. We coming from a biblical scriptural standpoint. We cheering for the will of God to happen on earth. Yeah, the whole world is ghetto. All of it's ghetto. There go the scripture. Let's read it again. Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. As for gold, they shall not delight in it. I mean, they can't even be bought out. You couldn't pay these people to get rid of their integrity. You couldn't pay these people to cease fire. It says, I will stir up the Medes against them. And that's what's happening. Let's go.
Administration in Washington accountable for its violations of fundamental principles of United Nations Charter and of norms of international law. The responsibility of the IAEA and its Director General, who through evidence bias in favor of warmongering parties paved the way for the current violence and bloodshed, is now clearer than ever. We call on the IAEA Board of Governors to immediately convene and carry out its legal responsibility in response to the dangerous US attack on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, all of which have been under the agency's full safety.
He said this is all about greed. And war is expensive, but also war is lucrative. And typically, when the shadow government plan these wars, they're trying to change something in society. There's an agenda behind it.
Safeguards and monitoring. The world must not forget that it was the United States which, in the midst of a process to forge a diplomatic outcome, betrayed diplomacy.
So the United States is being accused of betraying diplomacy, and I believe it. You can't believe a word that these Romans say, and that's what I'm gonna keep calling them. They're Romans. America is a modern day Babylon. Like, they're Romans.
By supporting the genocidal Israeli regime's launch of an illegal war of aggression on the Iranian nation. Not content with such malign actions, the United States itself has now also opted for a dangerous military operation and aggression against the people of Iran. In doing so, the US administration holds sole and full responsibility for the consequences of its actions, including the Islamic Republic of Iran's right to self-defense under the principles of the United Charter.
Yep. So yeah, this is gonna keep going. Let's go.
In accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its security interests and people. Thank you very much.
Yep. There you have it. They reserve all rights to defend their people. They reserve all rights to defend their citizens, and it's just one of the worst times to be going to war. We don't want this. Ethnic people, y'all stay out of it. The Most High is finna set us free. Let these people do what they want to do. Understand that the way this thing is going to happen is things are just going to gradually get worse, but the Holy Spirit going to be with us. It's going to come a time where we're going to just know how to navigate. We're going to know when it's time. We're going to know when it's to link up with our tribe. We're going to know when to do what we need to do, because it's going to be so much happening around us at one time. So look, brothers and sisters, ain't no fear. It is what it is. The world right now is going through the birth pains, because there's going to be a transformation. The Bible says there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. We knew that this day would come where everything would just sprawl into chaos. We knew this day would come where it would look like a real purge on earth. And the only way you can purge something is by fire. So look, praises to the Most High that prophecy is coming true. Somebody asked about our community that we're developing. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying. There's going to come a time where we're going to be linking up in the future, and it's going to be on the Most High's divine timing. Everything is going to be on his timing. We got to trust in the Creator. People ask me, Nubreed, are you a little bit shaken up what's happening? Are you fearful what's happening? No, because I know that the Most High put me here to make sure that I've done the right things. I took certain precautions. I took certain steps, not only to ensure the safety of my family, but other families. There's a reason why I went off into Africa to meet with dignitaries in Liberia. There's a reason why, we got access to all that land out there. There's a reason why we got 110 acres over there in the Carolinas. There's a reason why all this is happening. There's a reason why we've came together and did off-grid camping trips, meeting with each other and networking with each. There's a reason for all that. So, I know it confirms for me when I see this kind of stuff, it confirms that we living in a real live movie right now. And if we're obedient to his word, we'll be prepared when the time comes. So, and that goes for any of you all. It goes for any of y'all, but we in a movie right now. And so, no, I'm definitely of love and of a sound mind. I'm looking at what's going on, and I want you all to see this for what it is as well, with no fear. You got to be strong. You got to be resilient. You got to continue to build your relationship up with the Creator and let things fall in place, because the world is not only falling apart, but things are falling into place for his people. Look, I love each and every one of y'all. I'll be coming through with more material. Turn the post notification bell on. Look out for my video uploads. And y'all be blessed out here. More coming. Shalom and peace.